Nationals announced a major overhaul of the welfare system. It's radical, and political editor Duncan Garner has the details. Duncan.
It gets back into government, and today John Key revealed just how he's going to do it. What National says that 57,000 people will be back in the workforce with this plan, either full-time or part-time over 4 years. That is the gain. Now here's the pain. Almost everyone who wants a benefit will be tested to see if they can work for their living instead. That's sickness, invalid and DPB recipients. If there's some job they can do, they're going to have to go out and do it. And also look at this one here. Mums and dads on the DPB, especially mothers, of course, who get pregnant again, will get more than just a disapproving look. They'll have just 1 year with the new baby before work testing rules apply to them. John Key started the day in a hard hat on a work site, but it was those who aren't in work who needed one.
We also want people to be work available, work ready, and I sort of say you won't ever find a job unless you're looking for one.
For the 131,000 solo parents on the domestic purposes benefit, that means they all face rigorous work tests. When your child turns 14, you'll be work tested for full-time work, and when your child turns 5, you'll be work tested for part-time work. If you fail to show up 3 times, the government will take away 50% of your benefit until you meet your obligations.
Most people get three chances to actually meet their work obligations, and then if they haven't, they are sanctioned.
But it gets tougher. Have another baby while you're on the DPB, and once that child turns just 1, you'll be work tested for part-time work.
These people need to be work available. If they don't get a job, then they've fulfilled their requirements and the status quo remains.
Beneficiary numbers have risen by 60,000 since National took office, and 328,000 Kiwis are now on benefits. So all sickness and invalids beneficiaries will be work tested too, and if they fail to meet their obligations and don't have young children, they could lose 100% of their benefit. But those unable to work due to genuine illness will still get a welfare check. Key hopes the changes will see 46,000 people off welfare in the next 4 years, but we asked him, where are the jobs?
We're going to work very aggressively as a government, if we are the government post the election, to create jobs.
In a strange twist, Key delivered the welfare reforms in front of both an Australian and New Zealand flag. It was the boardroom of a company with Aussie links, but no one thought to move it. So Key's changes are certainly very radical in parts, and they're quite tough, and there's a real message here to those on the DPB that they just can't keep having kids and not expect to have to go back to work. It won't appeal to beneficiaries probably, but it will to national voters. They have always liked this kind of approach. It also may appeal to floating voters. I mean, many workers who turn up day in, day out to their factory or workplace, they may like the idea that there are no free rides for others. National has promised to help pay for the increased childcare costs for those forced back to work, but today it would not say how it will do that and how much is on offer. This is the carrot, if you like, for beneficiaries, and it probably, in my opinion, should have been released today too, but it won't now come until after the election. There are more welfare changes to come in the next few weeks, but these are the big ones today. National certainly fired its first big shot of the campaign, and it's not without controversy.
Duncan, thank you. Under National's reforms, many beneficiaries would be pointedly relabelled the new term job seekers. But the beneficiaries say just changing the name won't make a difference. And the opposition parties agree. Patrick Gower reports on the reaction of the out of work and the politicians.
Rachel Denyer is on the DPB. She's not proud of it and would get off if she could.
Yeah, I think I'm a good mum. It's just embarrassing how people put you down because you are on it.
She's got a 5-year-old at school, and little Harlem is not far off turning 1. Under National's new welfare regime, that means she'd be work tested and expected to work.
Like I said, I didn't have kids to just chuck them in daycare for someone else to raise them. I have applied for jobs before, and they've always looked at me like, oh, well, you can't get your kids sorted, so how can we rely on you?
Greens co-leader Materia Ture knows what it's like. She was a solo mother herself and says they need training and job creation.
That is the only solution, but this government would rather punish beneficiaries.
Rangi Thomason has been on the sickness benefit for 7 years. Under National's reforms, he'd be called a job seeker. He's got a CV, but not much hope, and doesn't think he's ready for work.
If I apply for a job, there's probably a big pile there. That are probably better, you know, they could do better than me.
first find the jobs. That's the best form of welfare reform.
It's shameful and disgraceful that National is once again running an election campaign geared at scapegoating beneficiaries.
And that's Rachel Denya's message for John Key. Don't make me your scapegoat, just help me with childcare and a job.
I'm not bludging.
So the tough talk about forcing beneficiaries back into work will of course go down well with voters, but when it comes to getting these people into jobs, the actual practicalities just aren't that easy. Patrick Gower, 3 News.